Yesterday, the VIX accurately predicted the S&P would be down either today or tomorrow. And today we did get a red day in the S&P 500. However, is there going to be more red days up ahead as Trump replaces Powell? Now, when we come over and look at the fear and greed index, right now we're sitting at 19. We are stuck in extreme fear, and I feel like every day it's the same old thing, day in, day out. Extreme fear, maybe we get a good day, we get up into fear, and then bam, smacked right back down. When we come over and look at how the indices fared across the board, the Dow was down 155 points, the NASDAQ was down 8.32 points, S&P 500 was down 9.34, Russell 2000 was up 0.22. However, when we look at advancing issues versus declining, even though the market was down, we had 53.1% of issues advancing on the day. Now, if we come over and look at how the sectors performed out here across the board, financials by far outpacing everything else, followed by technology, but it was basically a mixed bag. We actually had more sectors in the red than we had in the green. We only had 4 sectors in the green. Every other sector was in the red. If we come over and look at Boeing, Boeing was down 2.36%. It was not one of the 53% stocks on the move back up. And if we come over and look at why Boeing was down today, China halts Boeing jet orders. And again, some of you guys think the tariff stuff is all over with. There's a pause. Everything is fine. We had a massive update in the market last Wednesday. We saw the total range for the SPY up 11% on that week. And I've been telling you guys, hold up. It's not over with yet. Yes, it's constructive that they're trying to make some improvements out here on tariffs. However, we've seen this news headline out there today coming in at 1:54 this afternoon. Trump says fall in China's court over tariffs. We don't have to make a deal with them. And everybody keeps thinking there's going to be a deal. There's going to be a deal. And it's not just China. If we come over and look earlier this morning, what really caused the market starting to go down was when the EU came out and said EU expects US tariffs to remain as discussions make little progress. And that made the market a little bit nervous this morning. And we saw the S&P coming down here just a bit. However, if we come over and look at the volatility index out here today, we can see the VIX has been trying to decline on the way down. However, the VIX did close above 30 still. We closed at 30.11. We take a look at the dollar index today. Dollar index producing a green candle. Now we have 3 consecutive candles with wicks on the bottom of those candles. Then we come over and look at the precious metal gold today. Gold basically having nothing more than an inside day. So now we have back-to-back inside days out here with the gold. However, it's not just gold that's having an inside day. If you come over real quick and look at the SPY today having an inside day. We come over and look at the Qs out there with an inside day. And I wonder what Powell thinks about this. White House will start interviewing candidates for the next chair this fall. Now, they're not saying they're going to fire Jay Powell. Jay Powell already came out during some of the FOMC meetings where, the reporters kept asking him, hey, do you think Trump's going to fire you? No, he's not allowed. It's illegal. Yada, 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 right? Well, now we can see that maybe the White House, maybe the current administration does not have plans to keep Jay Powell around for another go around. Let me know if you guys think that is good. Should the Fed keep Jay Powell around, or should Donald Trump go ahead and boop him right out the door? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Now, if we come over and look at what was causing financials to go up, we look at Bank of America. Bank of America, big gap up, closed up 3.6% on the session. However, was not able to close at the high of the candle. Came right up in here towards gap support and said, the air's a little bit thin up here. Let me go ahead and come right back down. If we come over and look at Citigroup, kind of the same pattern as what we saw with Bank of America. Big wick on the way up, boom, right back down. And again, the location of this candle is not that bullish. Look what we had right over here. We had that wide ranging day. We did a look above, boom, right back down. Then come over and look at, we still have more earnings coming out for tomorrow and the remainder of the week. Tomorrow, we have more banks reporting earnings. And then on Thursday, we have Taiwan Semiconductors before the bell. And then after the bell, we have Netflix. And if we come over and look at what the option market is pricing in, we can see that the option market is pricing in Taiwan Semiconductor to move plus or minus 12%. Netflix expected to move plus or minus 12%. And Regions Bank expected to move plus or minus 13%. So that means we have plenty of opportunities for volatility out here in this market. Now, if we come over and look at the economic news out here for tomorrow, what do we have on deck? Well, tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., we have core retail sales coming out. However, that's not the big thing we need to worry about. If we scroll on down here real quick, we're going to see at 1:30, Papa Powell is going to be taking the podium. Will Powell end up sinking stocks, or is Powell going to be able to rally the troops? And we're going to see stocks rallying on up once Powell goes ahead and speaks tomorrow. Now, I want to make everybody aware right now, Apex having a massive 80% sale off all their valuation accounts, and you can get the 150K, 250K, and 300K accounts for only $59. If you guys want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below and use promo code Mike at checkout. So if we come over here and look at the SPY real quick, we can see that when we started off the week, so far, we're only 2 days in, we were way up here. Now we're at the lower third of the range. Then as we come over and start looking at the daily chart, what do we got going on? MACD indicator does have a bullish cross at this moment, but you know what? The market's having a very hard time getting above the high from last Wednesday. We're just kind of stuck at this area. On the 4-hour chart, you can see the MACD indicator making its way up towards the zero line, and this could be dangerous. If we cannot punch above last Wednesday's high and hold, and the MACD indicator gets towards that zero line, that could be nothing more than a recharge point for another leg lower in the stock market. Then we come over and look at the 30-minute chart. MACD indicator is making its way down towards the zero line. We're not quite there yet. And look at the range today. The range was much smaller than what we saw yesterday. Yesterday's range was much smaller than what we saw on Friday. Friday's range was smaller than what we saw on Thursday. So we're starting to see a contraction of this range. But all in all, is this nothing more than calls being built for the next move to either go higher or lower? I'm going to classify today's volume profile shape also as a D as in dog, which indicates that tomorrow is highly probable going to be a breakout or breakdown from this pattern. Now, that was similar with yesterday, and today we're basically contained within yesterday's range. Now, as we come over and look at the futures markets real quick, come over here on the 4-hour chart. This is something we're talking about on the live stream. Are we going to be able to push up and out, making it towards this ABC pattern up here at 58.04? Now, if you guys don't want to miss the next time I go live, make sure you subscribe. You have the bell notifications turned on for all. Today, we gave away a 50K Take Profit Trader account, and we have more accounts to give away this week. So you guys want to make sure you don't miss the next time I go live. Now, as we look at this weekly chart real quick, I'm asking myself, is this going to turn into a double top? And this is a conversation I've been having during the live stream. At this area on the chart, I'm not a big fan of where we're at. I either want to see us start to break down or start to push above that high from last Thursday. Then as we come over and start looking at the daily profiles real quick, notice we're closing near the lower end of the range, and we're closing right near value area low, which comes in at 54.25. Point of control is going to be up here at 54.29.5, and value area high will be up here at 54.58.5. Now, if we can start breaking below value area low tonight or tomorrow, then I want to turn my attention and say, okay, can we make it all the way back over to here towards this minus development area, kind of right up here towards the candle bodies, up here to the candle wick. And that zone is really going to come in anywhere from 53.46.5 up here to about 53.59. Now, if we're looking to play that scenario to play out, one thing we do need to be mindful of, if indeed we start breaking lower tonight, but then the market turns and we start coming back up, I would then want to turn my attention towards the point of control, towards this minus development area within the profile from today, somewhere in the ballpark of 54.56, then up here towards value area high at about 54.58.5. Anything above that price point, I would then want to turn my attention right back over here to the highs of last Wednesday. And if we start breaking that, then I'm going to say, all right, all systems go. Let's start targeting the untested point of control of 56.74, and then that ABC structure pattern completion at about 58.04. Now, as we come over and look at the QQQs real quick, what do we got going on over here? Well, I'm going to go ahead and remove this first anchor VWAP right down there from that prior low, but we still have the anchor VWAP from all-time highs. We are still holding below it. MACD indicator has crossed to the upside, but then as we come over and look at the 4-hour chart, this has me a little bit concerned. We're stuck up here at these upper levels, and the MACD indicator is working towards that zero line. If indeed we get towards the zero line, watch out. That could be nothing more than a recharge point for another leg lower in this market. Now, if we can break above the high from last Wednesday, then I do want to turn my attention towards the ABC pattern completion at about 490.70. So right now, for me, we're just in a wait and hold type of situation. Then as we dive down, start looking at the 30-minute chart, notice the MACD indicator is getting towards the zero line, and we'll see, do we make it out there tomorrow? Now, one thing I forgot to mention with the S&P 500, we do have an inside day on the NASDAQ, same as the S&P 500. We have a D as in dog shape profile, same as we do with the S&P 500, but something I forgot to mention, whichever way we first break, it quite often ends up being nothing more than a trap. So do we see the market maybe getting sent south tomorrow, and then maybe Jay Powell lifts the market back up when he takes the podium at 1:30 in the afternoon, and then we end up rallying back up? Or tomorrow, do we just simply gap up higher and then Jay Powell sends the ship back lower as Jay Powell's speech gets underway? We come over real quick and look at the futures markets for the NASDAQ. Notice we still have a weekly point of control at 17,250.50. That's still an untested point of control. However, I also want to focus on the fact that we do have some point of controls above us. 19,401.75, 20,080.00. But right now, until we can break above this high right here, I'm not really focused on those other targets up above us. We do have a potential for this A to B equals C to D pattern, which would play out something like this with a target at about 20,552. However, I'm not worried about that level unless we can get above that swing high, because for all we know, this could turn into a double top pattern, which would bring the market all the way back down towards the lows that we saw out here in April. Now, as we come over and start looking at the daily chart real quick, we can see that the entire range today was contained within yesterday's range. We only had a 335 point range. So this is one of the smallest ranges we've seen over the past 3 weeks. Now, as I'm looking at this, you can see we have value area low coming in right here, about 18,927.5. We have the point of control up here at 18,970 and value area high about 19,059. So tonight, I want to see, do we start flushing below value area low? Then do we potentially come back up? Now, there's a couple different ways we can play this. If we flush all the way down here towards the low from Monday, and then we can get back above the swing point right here, which I'll move that white line right there. Okay, let me go ahead and take a long shot, retargeting the lows of today, and then value area low, point of control, value area high, then the highs from today, and then the highs from Monday. Anything above and beyond that price point, I would then want to turn my attention back towards the highs of last Wednesday. Then the point of control is above us on the 4-hour chart, then all the way up here for that ABC pattern to complete. Now, if you guys want to learn about Take Profit Trader's static drawdown and what happens to your drawdown once you make a payout request, then make sure to watch this next video right here.